In 1325, two Italian cities went to war over a wooden bucket, and while that sounds like a joke, it was terrifyingly real. Medieval Italy was a fractured land of city-states, where pride, honor, and reputation mattered more than reason, and insults were often treated as acts of war. Among the bitterest rivals were Bologna and Modena, two cities divided not just by geography, but by loyalty, with Bologna supporting the Pope and Modena backing the Holy Roman Emperor. Decades of tension simmered through raids, propaganda, and minor skirmishes, and every insult, no matter how small, carried the weight of potential destruction, waiting for a spark that could explode into full-scale violence. That spark arrived on a quiet, moonlit night, when a group of Modenese soldiers crept silently into Bologna and stole a single wooden bucket from a public well. The act might seem absurd today, but at the time, it was seen as a blatant insult to the city's honor, a deliberate mockery designed to provoke outrage. Bologna reacted with fury, demanding the immediate return of the bucket and publicly shaming Modena, but Modena refused. In a world where backing down could be seen as weakness and invite further humiliation, neither side could afford to lose face, and suddenly, what should have been a petty prank escalated into full-scale war. Bologna began mobilizing tens of thousands of soldiers, knights, and mercenaries, calling them to defend the city's honor and prepare for a confrontation that would be remembered for generations. Modena gathered a smaller but more disciplined army, confident in their strategy, training, and knowledge of the terrain. As the armies marched toward each other, tension grew unbearable. Rumors flew, citizens panicked. Everyone could sense that one wrong step, one miscalculation, could turn this ridiculous conflict into a true bloodbath. When the two forces finally met near the village of Zappolino, banners were raised, armor glinted in the harsh sunlight, horns blared, and tens of thousands of men faced each other, ready to fight and possibly die over an object that, in any rational sense, was worthless. Yet the stakes could not have been higher, because in this culture, honor and pride were everything. Chaos erupted. Cavalry charges smashed into infantry lines, arrows darkened the sky, and men screamed, tripped, and vanished into the mud and blood. For a moment, Bologna's overwhelming numbers seemed unstoppable, crushing hope, morale, and resistance. But then, everything went wrong. Modena's forces held their ground, counterattacked with precision, and slowly, horrifyingly, Bologna's formations began to break. Panic spread like wildfire through the ranks. Commanders struggled to maintain order, and just when it seemed all was lost for Modena, an unexpected flanking maneuver turned the tide. Could Modena hold? No one knew. The Bolognese were thrown into confusion, and chaos reigned on the battlefield. Thousands died, not because they were ordered to conquer land or wealth, but because human ego and pride made compromise impossible. Every minute that passed made the absurdity more shocking, because this war could have been avoided entirely, yet here they were, locked in deadly combat over a single wooden bucket. Citizens watched in horror as friends, family, and soldiers fell, and leaders realized that the consequences of pride were far deadlier than any rational argument. When the fighting ended, Modena emerged victorious, and Bologna was left humiliated beyond repair. No borders were redrawn, no political power shifted, yet the bucket itself became a symbol of triumph, displayed proudly as a trophy. Astonishingly, that same bucket still exists today, preserved in Modena as a reminder of how fragile human peace can be, how easily reason can be drowned in pride, and how even the smallest insult can spiral into a war that changes thousands of lives forever. The War of the Bucket was never really about wood. It was about ego, escalation, and the refusal to admit a mistake, showing that history is often driven not by strategy or noble causes, but by stubbornness, pride, and the dangerous power of human arrogance. Even centuries later, the story stands as a warning. A single act, a single slight, a single bucket can ignite a chain of events that no one can stop.